Appreciate you being here, and our preparations. We've been at it for a couple weeks now. Certainly excited, enthused for the opportunity to get to go to College Station this Saturday. So, but I'm sure we're better off just going right to questions. So please go right ahead.
All right, you mentioned the preparation. How do you use the extra week that you have? You find out everything kind of goes over. You prep for a team. How do you use this time and now enter this game week?
You know, you really have 2 game weeks is what you do. Now you don't have the brunt of the physicality of a game last week, but you still use that Saturday as a practice because you want to make sure your bodies aren't, you don't want that acute spike the week of the game, right? You want to make sure that you're in process. And we felt that we were getting stronger in the month of November, and we're playing our best football at the end. We wanted to continue that trend. So to do so, we just went right to what we do systematically and consulting with our sports science department as well, and attacked it. And we feel like we're in a really good spot. The balance of physicality and practice and getting your guys healthy.
This is obviously a milestone for your program, going into the playoffs. When you think of the 4 years here, when you think of getting on that plane from Oregon, does that seem a long time ago, forever ago, or does it just seem yesterday?
Yeah, it seems a pretty good while ago, you know. I mean, the early days when you know, I've been very fortunate to be around some awesome people and be part of essentially 3 rebuilds. You know, those early years are like dog years, you know, they're tough. But, you know, it was always, we never strayed from the vision, from the process. We have incredible people that have worked at it. And I think the best part of all the people involved is that there's no relax syndrome. You know, the moment it was announced, it's like, okay, let's get the preparation. Let's get right to work to make sure we give ourselves the best chance of being 1-0 on Saturday.
Mario, the rushing offense, it's been solid but not super explosive. I think you guys ranked like pretty low in terms of like 10 plus 20-yard runs. What have you guys been working on to try to get some more, I guess, bang for your buck in the run game?
Well, I think it's improved the last month or so. I think we've created more explosive plays. I think it's a combination of a lot of things. Sometimes you're not blocked up like you should be. Sometimes a guy falls off. Sometimes the wide receiver doesn't get to a safety. Sometimes you should throw it on that particular down. But I think we have gotten more in sync. And I think we've created some opportunities with some other guys in there as well. Mark's on the mend, or was on the mend, and he's fully healthy now. So I think we're in a good place. We've run the ball effectively for all the years we've been here, and we feel we're trending in that direction again. But we're always assessing and analyzing and adapting where we can to get better.
What have Francis Manuel and Ruben Bing meant to the program and helping you guys get to where you guys are right now?
Yeah, you know, I talk about it all the time. Is like those were the guys that would wait for us outside of Hard Rock, right after those tough early games when we first got here back in 22, and they're the ones that bought into a vision, that were willing to just ignore the noise and all the craziness surrounding a tough season, and they were going to be the ones. They were going to be the ones that were the agents of change. So to see them get the opportunity here in their 3rd year to continue playing this caliber of football and be in the playoffs in December, I know it means a ton to them, but just like we talked about a second ago, their whole concentration and focus is on the preparation. There's no, I guess the best way to say it, there's no arrived syndrome, you know? It's a get back to work mentality.
Mario, I went back to the SMU game. You guys were penalized 12 times in that game, 5 of them were pre-snap.
Is that
what,
it?
What have you found in terms of to improve upon that when you're going into another hostile territory like Kyle Field, where you want to eliminate those pre-snap penalties? Where do you think you've gotten better in that area, and how do you avoid those in the prep week?
Yeah, it's certainly one of the best environments that you'll see in football or any sports for that matter. And certainly, I think our approach to the mechanics and the processes involving the cycle of the snap have really been effective. And I think you see that in our pre-snap, I would say, improvements over the past 4 games. You know, so you have a lot of mechanisms within your facility to prepare for when you're going to hostile environments, and you have to completely dive into it, be consumed by it, and prepare your guys to the best of their ability so that they enter any environment with confidence.
Mark, I would assume you get a good feel of your team being around this long. What do you get as a sense, and how do you kind of get that sense of that they're in the right place mentally, not making this game more than what it is, and just a game, and not thinking of the big picture.
Sure, that's a good point, because if you start to deviate from that, then you create anxiety, and that kills performance. The best thing about this team, besides the fact that they're fun to be around, they are, is that they love to work, like they love the grind. They find opportunities to get better on their own by pushing. They push coaches, you know, like collectively they almost require your coaches to be on edge to provide them with the best information, the best drill work, the best film sessions they can possibly have to improve and get better. It's a very hungry driven team. It's a team with tremendous heart as it relates to football and off the field as well. They deserve our very best. They get it every single day, and we're going to continue to give it to them. But they're in a good mental space because, again, I think they were wired the right way. But I think we've also wired this team, you know, because you do. By the end of the season, your team is wired a certain way. We believe strongly that this team is wired in the right manner.
What did you learn from watching your guys' defense against other dual threat quarterbacks like Castellanos and Byron Brown? Because Marcel Reed's obviously able to make plays with his feet. How do you guys work on making sure you guys stay disciplined in the pass rush, not to allow rushing lanes for him to escape? What did you learn from you guys going against other dual threat guys earlier in the year?
Well, certainly Marcel Reed's the best one that we've played. I mean, what you learn that if you're not disciplined, you're going to pay the price in chunk plays, right? Extended plays, improvisations, guys just breaking free, you know, and you're looking at a quarterback that keeps his eyes down the field, has a great connection with his wide receivers, because when he does find time and space, everybody's working, right? That's a dangerous part of a team, and that has a quarterback that can extend plays like that, right? All the off-script stuff. So, but what you learn that, you know, in football, particularly when you play really good teams, that there's very little wiggle room. The margin for error is very small, and that communication's at a premium, right? Everybody understanding exactly what to do and doing their job as opposed to trying to make a play. Those things are paramount, you know, and the more you practice it, the better you get at it. Fortunately for us, we've gotten better and better defensively as the year's gone on. And you've got to be at your best when you're playing against the best players in the country.
What makes Texas A&M so good on third down?
Well, I would say that, number one, they get you in difficult third down situations. You know, you don't see a ton of third and shorts. I think that starts with identification, right? The looks that you're going to get will create pictures that make you sometimes guess, right? Is it a 4-down rush concept? Is it an odd or bare rush concept? You know, who's capped, knowing that might be a threat, and who's not. Their sim pressures, their zone droppers, the combination of bluff and bringing it that they present, and the way that they attack your protection rules is what makes it difficult. And therefore you see free hitters. Now, when you don't have free hitters, what you see is a very talented front, a very physical, explosive, extremely highly technical defensive front. Like, they win their one-on-ones. You know, sometimes their best third down stuff is just rushing the 4 guys, because they're so explosive, they're so quick, they're so powerful. They get their hands on people and they get rid of blockers. So I think all those things combined make them really good on third down, but it starts with the fact that they're winning first and second down to make third down that much more difficult.
What makes Casey Concepcion a difficult player to face, and also maybe what differences do you see him now from when you and your staff saw him?
Yeah, the more you watch tape on him, and you know, we've been watching him, we actually had a chance to play against him in 2023, is everyone knows how fast he is. I don't think people realize the incredible body control that he has. You watch him when that ball's in the air, I mean, he finds a way to twist and turn and come down with it one-handed, two-handed. And if he's not running by you know, and there's several clips on tape where once he has the ball in his hands, he's really tough to bring down. Those feet are moving, plays with a great low center of gravity, always moving his feet, very physical, very tough. You could tell they have a really good weight room, really good strength and conditioning program. And I think he exemplifies, you know, that in the way that he plays the game.
There were some reports last week that Shannon Dawson was in the mix for a few different head coaching positions. In your discussions with him, just like, how do you work with him on that? Make sure he's obviously doing his job here, but also, doing what's best for his career. How do you guys kind of handle the situations?
Openly and honestly. I think what happens is, look, I was in similar positions way back, and I was benefited from head coaches that were about promoting their assistants. And if there are the right opportunities to help them in any way that we can, while at the same time, every staff member has to understand this, as well as every single player, everybody in the building. You cannot be distracted, okay? And there's a way to handle things, and I think I credit him. We don't report everything that goes on, but you can imagine what this time of year looks like, right? This is the time of year where you get this. Hey, coach, you got a second? And it's not to give me a Christmas present either, right? It's to talk about, things that come up. And this time of year, think about how many jobs opened up this year. It's in the 20s, right? So multiply that, exponentially the opportunities grow out there, and people are always trying to peck away at programs that have good people. So, but a credit to Coach Dawson and all the other coaches that they've done a great job, because they've all been part of this process, right? And we find ourselves in a situation that you dream for, you strive for, right? And so that's the way we approach it. But we never we have a vow not to let anything or anyone get in the way of our 1-0 process.
Mario, you won games like this through your career as an assistant and as a head coach. You got to go on the road, hostile environment, play a good team. And I mean, if there were a formula, you obviously wouldn't even discuss it here, but like, what's the key to managing a situation like this? I mean, last time I ever played a game like this, I don't have to tell you, a long time ago. How do you manage, something like this?
I still think it comes down to your preparation, because at the end of the day, this is going to come down to the 22 that are on the field, right? That are actually executing against each other, and execution is at a premium. And to get to that point where you're executing to your standard, it's steps, it's fundamentals, it's a combination of things that you just can't compromise. And these things start in January, right? Like every year now in college football, a lot of teams are coaching a whole new team, a one-year team. But I would say that you prepare for this way back in January, and then you bring it all together and bring it to life on game week with your level of preparation. And that relates to, every part of it. I won't waste your all's time with all the details that go into that, but because you have to, when you hit that field, right, when you're playing great teams like this, great players, great coaches, you have to play fast and you have to play with confidence. And there can't be any hesitation, any flinch in your game or your mindset. And certainly we are grateful for the opportunity. We are thrilled. We are excited. We just want to get to work.
And you, just one question. You talked about the knocks on the door. Because of the way the calendar is now,
right?
I'm sure it's a nightmare, with dealing with NIL and the future with the portal opening January 2nd. How do you manage all that?
Just cancel Christmas. You got stuff to do. I don't think any coach would feel sorry for themselves. It's the job is what it is, and until they figure everything out and how to make the calendar make sense, you do what you got to do. I don't think you could sit up here in front of a podium and demand all the things we demand of our players and our staff, and then all of a sudden January's and December's kind of hell for you, and you don't come up here and complain about it. You just deal with it, right? You do what's best for people, for the program. You do it straight up, and it's just business. It's not personal. Straight business.
Mario, when we think back of the first day of fall camp and Carson Beck finally taking the field and saying he was juiced up with his arm, and seeing his growth throughout this thing as he takes the field now towards his last games in college football. What have you seen the biggest growth from him, and how do you see him as a leader now, getting ready to help lead this team to hopefully win on Saturday?
I think, a lot. I think it's awesome that, we practice on Saturday, and we give him the afternoon off after we practice. It was great to see a clip of him with his teammates over at the high school state championship games. I think that's really neat. I think it shows the camaraderie of the team, that they're hanging together during free time, and they're going and they're watching football. their love of the game, their passion for the sport is huge. And to see a guy that came in under so much scrutiny, right, and having to recover from surgery and everything else to grow like he's growing, and now come down to the end playing his best football down the stretch. I think it's awesome. It's awesome to see how he approaches each and every day. Like he's really, really driven. His practices have been outstanding, and happy for these guys, but happy in the sense that I get to push him more. So we're just excited about working. That's all.
Mario, Keontae Scott, what's the latest on him? Do you think there's a chance he can go on Saturday?
I do. In fact, I feel strongly about it.
Just considering what it looked like when you said the first time, as soon as his injury came out, that it didn't look good, the fact that the fact that you do have a chance to have him, what does that mean for the team and for the defense?
I think he's exactly how you would drop a football player. And I mean, not only by his level of play, but his mentality. I mean, that guy. And again, look, no one's ever going to get cleared unless a doctor clears them. But there's also a mental aspect that goes into recovery that, you either push yourself mentally and you're positive and you will yourself as part of it. And he has done that, and he looks great, and he's looking great, so we'll see what it looks like later in the week. Certainly I'll have more details on the health of the entire team by then, but we're in a good spot. We're healthier than we've been the previous 4 weeks, and certainly he's a big component of the health of the team.
Mario, to follow up on something I asked you last week about Fernando Mendoza, obviously a lot of local interest down here in that story. Have you been able to reach out to the family, congratulate them? Obviously you're close with them.
Yeah, because I didn't know what the rules were, I actually, his high school coach, I said, hey, make sure you tell him the family, congratulations, adelante. It's certainly a big, tremendous job by him, his teammates, awesome family, awesome people, and a well-deserved award.
What type of challenges Cassius Howe pose as a pass rusher?
Yeah, he's a total package. I don't think he gets enough credit for the way he plays the run. If you watch the way that he takes on tight ends, closes out the C gap, he's off the charts in block destruction because he's really powerful. And the twitch is not just twitch as it relates to speed, it's twitch as it relates to power. Comes out of his hips really well and just slings blockers, just splits double teams. He's excellent. But his get off is complemented by his second and third step. He can go speed of power, outside in, out again, club, rip, swim. I mean, he's got it all. He's got every move, and then he's a relentless competitor. And he has impacted games in a massive manner throughout the entire season. So a guy that's going to be playing a long, long time on Sundays.
Seeing no more questions in the room, we'll transition to Zoom. Carter, if you want to take it from here.
Am I looking at that thing?
No, you can look straight.
Okay.
Thanks, Cam. Like Cam said, we will now take questions from outside the room on Zoom. If anybody on Zoom has a question for Coach Cristobal, please use the hand raise function so we know to call out. Going once, going twice. Okay, I think we're good. Thanks, Coach.
All right. That was awesome.